Because people, when they think about exercise, they think weight loss or muscle gain.
Is really important.
Finding
Hire
a
a coach.
30 minutes of walk every day consistently,
Yeah.
or doing like a step workout, like I'll
Uh-huh.
play a video.
You know, your glutes, your hips.
Okay.
Right? That is the main muscle that's supposed to work.
People do it wrong even at the gym.
Right? Working out is good, but like something as simple as walking, cycling, swimming, these are all great starting points. Your circumstances are starting slow is always the best thing.
Lifting weights makes women bulky.
Like when you train for arm wrestling specifically, right? So your muscles might be small, but your strength will be higher.
Done, let's do it. Hi, welcome to the Wellness Mixer. My name is Ambika, and on this show, I'm going to ask wellness questions that you've had in your minds forever but never asked someone. So, today, we're talking about one thing that we all want to be regular with, but well, consistency is a bit of a problem. We're talking about exercise, and for that, we have Anupama with us. So, Anupama is a fitness trainer, but not just that. She's one of the very few female Indian calisthenics coach. She's also a surfer, which is very interesting. So, let's ask Anupama more about that. Hi, Anupama. Welcome to the Wellness Mixer.
Hi, Ambika. Thank you. It's a pleasure.
So, tell us more about what you do.
Okay.
Before we go on to talk about, all the wellness things, I want to know what you do, how you do it, and how
Yeah.
did you get into it?
Okay. I think when we talk about work, I work as a freelance journalist and I also work as a calisthenics coach, right? So for those of the listeners or the viewers who don't know what calisthenics is basically any movement that you do with your own body weight,
Okay.
right? Basically with no equipment. So to give you an example, you might see somebody do a chest press in the gym, right? We can that the movement chest press is for the chest to train your chest muscles,
Yeah.
right? But instead in calisthenics we do push-ups on the floor.
Okay.
So what that does is it takes out the variable that is the equipment, right? We take out the equipment out of the process. So that is what calisthenics is. It can start with something as basic as like a plank and go
Okay.
on to something as intense as a handstand push-up, handstand clap
Wow.
push-ups, and there's no limit to it in both extremes, right? You can make it as easy as possible and as difficult as possible.
I've seen so many people do that, and I've
Yes.
been very fascinated, but I don't think I'm there yet.
No, I mean, like I said, see, there's a progression for everybody.
Yes.
And that's the beauty
So
of
it can
it.
start with a plank.
Yes.
And then go advance as much as.
Yes, yes.
Wow. How long have you been doing this for?
So coaching I've been doing since lockdown. I have been a calisthenics athlete from around 2018. That's when I first discovered it. And I wanted to start with parkour, but that was slightly farther away from where I stayed. So
Yeah.
calisthenics was more convenient. And I saw a girl do a pull-up. And that's when I was like, oh shit, if she can do it, I can do it.
Yeah.
And I think that's the beauty of having role models, right? Like just seeing somebody do something new is enough to inspire us.
Absolutely. I 100% agree, because I think for me, I was very intimidated by going to the gym always, okay? Like
Right.
I was a sports person, but I was never like a gym person.
Right.
But then I think through Insta, I've realized that so many women are doing it. They're picking up weights, and it's so amazing to see that, because it's such a good change, right?
It
Because
is.
I grew up in a tier 2 city where when I would go to the gym, I would only see men picking up weights. Even trainers would not tell us to pick up weights. And that's such a nice change. Now when I go to the gym, I have a female trainer who's training me, and
Oh,
she
that's
would
wonderful.
yeah, and she
Yeah.
makes me do all of the weight
Movements,
training.
yeah.
Yeah, and it's lovely, and she will there's so much to it. We will get into all of that.
Done.
Okay. So let's start talking about exercising. Okay.
Okay.
Now, a topic as broad as exercising, I've chosen because, well, I think we all want to get healthy, live fitter, and look better.
Yes.
But where do we start? And what is really exercise? Is it just going to the gym and picking up weights, and it needs to be hard and fast and you need to sweat?
Right.
Or even a 30 minutes of yoga session or
Right.
strength training, something
Yes.
as basic as that.
Yeah. See, when it comes to exercise, the first question I want to answer is how do we start, right? There are two important things that I like to point out. One is either you can hire a coach or find a community. That's the easiest ways to do it. If you can afford it, I would always recommend that you hire a coach, because why try to figure something out when you can just delegate the task to a professional who's done it for
Absolutely,
years, right? If you want to do your accounts, you can either learn about math and accountancy and everything, or you can just hire an accountant. So when you hire a professional, obviously there is a much faster progress, because it's not a trial and error process.
Yeah.
Right? You're the coach is there to guide you in every step of the process. It could be personal training or group classes or whatever it is, in any capacity.
Okay.
Or you can find a community. By finding a community, what happens? Like, I'll give you an example. When I first discovered calisthenics, I learned it through a community, because it was so new in Bangalore and India that there were no gyms, there were no calisthenics parks. There was just one park in Bangalore, and there was a community that was going by trial and error, and it was all kids who were like 19 to 20-year-olds, 22-year-olds who are like learning off of YouTube and just doing it by themselves.
How
So-
lovely though.
Yeah, definitely. And I was like the only older one, like around 25. That's when I discovered it. Who was trying to learn a pull up and do something about it. So when you have a community, what happens is, the most important thing is, the community was already on a different level. So I saw women doing muscle ups, which is a really difficult movement.
Okay.
Right? It is an advanced movement. I saw all of these people, even the boys, doing really crazy movements like handstand clap push-ups. Imagine
wow.
doing a
Yeah.
handstand clap
Lap
push-up.
push-up. Yeah.
Or not on the wall. They're doing it in the park on solid
Yeah.
cement. Okay. So going from not being able to do zero, I could do zero pull-ups back then. And then when I saw them, ultimately your mindset is, that is my new normal.
Correct.
So your mindset is automatically changed when you're in a community.
So you get motivated.
Yes.
You have, like you mentioned, it's very important to have a role model in this
Yes.
space, right?
Yes.
Somebody you look up to. And
Yes.
then you learn and you grow in a community.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I think, by the way, Bangalore has some really good sports communities.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
No matter what you want to pick up in Bangalore, there's a community. I met a old man, a really old gentleman, who was about 60-year-old, and he plays the mouth organ, and there's a community for that.
Oh, how nice.
So yeah, no matter what you want to pick up, Bangalore is a really good place.
Yeah. So I was a skater, by the way. I don't know many people will believe it also, although they know this. But I used to skate when I was in school, and not like I used to do it I was quite competitive about it.
Right.
So I used to play state level tournaments and
Oh,
stuff
wow.
like that. So I would wake up at 4 a.m. and my mom used to take me for practice.
Yeah.
So I've done that till I think I was in 10th grade.
Mm-hmm.
I used to still go for tournaments back then. And then just, life happened. I started
Yeah.
studying, and I wanted to get into Delhi University. So the pressure just, yeah.
No, I can
So,
understand.
but when I moved back to Bangalore, I figured that there's a skaters community here.
Yes.
In
Bengaluru
Cubbon,
skaters.
yeah, in Cubbon Park.
Yes.
So I asked my mom to send my skates. Okay, so when she was
Oh.
coming down to Bangalore, she got my skates,
Okay.
and I've not gone to Cubbon Park yet, but I will soon. Hopefully.
This Sunday, I'm going. You should come.
I will. I'm okay. Done. Let's
Done.
do that. Let's
Yeah,
shake
let's
hands
do
on
it.
it. I will wake up.
Done.
I will wake up.
Done,
Yeah,
done.
but this is the beauty of having a community.
Yes.
I think it keeps you motivated too.
Yes. Definitely.
But let's talk about, let's say, someone who's never worked out,
Right. Yeah.
never played sports, never worked out, but wants to get fitter. Because
Right.
I think everybody has a wake up call at some point. Especially these days, and I think especially after COVID, people have started realizing that they need to be fitter and need to be healthier. So how does one start?
Okay. So this is where the first point that I mentioned is really important.
Finding
Hire
a
a coach. Hire a coach. Because in a community, things are a lot more easygoing and not in a disciplined manner. So there are chances of injury. See, if your wake-up call comes later in life, around 40 when your menopause is starting, 40, 45, 50 when your perimenopause is starting, then it's absolutely necessary to find a coach. But if you're much younger, around 20s or 25, when you just start working and you want to start working towards your health, finding a group class or a gym near you is a good
Yeah.
place. See, even if you don't go to a gym near you, there are so many coaches who offer online coaching. So if it makes you conscious to enter a gym, you can always start with a coach who's teaching you body weight movements, and start with understanding what muscles are there, how are you supposed to feel the movement. When you squat, you're not supposed to be feeling it only on your thighs, your
yeah.
quads. You should ideally be feeling it on your your glutes, your hips.
Okay.
Right, that is the main muscle that's supposed to work. Now only a coach can teach you these things.
And I think a lot of people do it wrong, even at the gyms. Like you would
Yes.
see them doing these movements, a lot
Yes.
of these movements, but they're not effectively doing it where it's
Yes.
targeting the entire muscle group that they're supposed
Exactly.
to, right?
Exactly.
So this is why
Yeah.
you probably need to invest in a coach.
A professional would be a better way of going about it. And no matter what your budget is, there is something for you. Something starting as low as $9.99 per month or $500 per month to group classes that run at $6K per month.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I think especially in Bangalore, you can find
Yes.
everything.
Yes.
Because I've seen very premium gyms in Indranagar which will offer you like 5 sessions at 6K or 7K or something like that also. And then you obviously have like a more budget friendly variation also at some places.
Yes,
So
definitely.
great. So one should find a coach.
Yes.
But now, okay, I'll be honest, finding a coach is an intimidating task.
Yes.
Giving you an example of what happened to me.
Okay.
I was in Amritsar during COVID and I was like, okay, I've gained a lot of weight. I need to lose it. So I got a trainer who would come home and train me. Okay. And there was enough space at my place. Like I had a treadmill, but there was a nice garden also, so I could run and all of that. And then I got some barbells and stuff that everything that I needed for weight training also, and I got that. I used to wake up at 6 a.m. Anupama,
Okay.
or maybe 6:30.
Okay.
Have black coffee in the morning.
Oh dear. Okay.
Yeah, I'm coming to that. Okay, I think the education happened after that.
Right.
But I used to wake up and I was very motivated to lose weight. My cortisol levels obviously were a bit elevated. But my trainer made me run a lot. Do a lot of cardio in the first few weeks.
Oh no.
And then slowly it moved on. Like she started teaching me how to lift weights, what's the right posture, all of that. But I think and I didn't lose a kg, by the way. I
Right,
didn't lose a kg.
Of course,
And I realized much later why that was. That was
Yes.
because I was doing so much cardio when my body was already under stress.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
how does one find a coach who understands your needs? Like what do you actually need?
Yes. I think this is a great question, Ambika. Like, I actually have a full Instagram carousel post dedicated to how to find a right coach.
Yeah.
Because it's much like any other job, right? Some people will be complacent, some people will be excellent. So you never know who the right person is.
Yeah.
So some of the things to keep in mind is, first, always ask a lot of questions. Somebody who is patient with you, like if they are able to patiently answer all your questions, that is a green flag, right?
Okay.
Like if they're able to answer all of your questions, or if they don't know the answer to it, they will be straight with you and say, hey, I don't know, I will research and get back to you.
Yeah.
That's the most respectful thing a coach will do, like a professional will do, ideally, right? Second thing that you have to keep in mind is talk about your specific, communicate your specific this one, and see if they are knowledgeable about it. Okay. If not, give them a day or two and see how they come back to you. Like I had a person who reached out to me with some complicated, health condition, and I had absolutely no clue about it. And this person could not, consume any sort of protein. They couldn't consume, plant protein because it has peas in it, and they couldn't consume whey protein. They couldn't eat paneer. They couldn't drink milk. And I was like, oh my God, what do I do? And then it took me 2 days of research to help them find out hemp protein,
Okay.
which worked out
Nice.
for them.
Yeah.
So ideally, like if the coach doesn't know what your condition is, they will take the time, research, and come back to you, right?
Yeah.
The third thing to remember is, see how passionate they are about work. No matter which profession you go to, whether it's and this is a rule that I genuinely follow, whether it's my hairdresser or or somebody as simple as the tailor or something. If they are passionate about what they do, right, they will always come through.
And they'll do a good job.
They will do a good job because they will not be doing a good job for your sake. They'll be doing a good job for their ideals.
Yeah.
Right? They'll always ensure that, they will come through.
Yeah.
So how passionate they are about what they're doing and why they're doing it. You can always ask your coach, hey, why did you get into this? I just want to understand. And again, the patience factor comes in here. You can ask them like, there's usually some personal story behind it, like how you yourself, like, when you started this podcast, like you told me the story of how you went to PCOS and everything, right? Every person has an origin story, and if this origin story is good and they're passionate about it, they will always be a good coach. No matter what level of knowledge they're at, they will ensure that they take care of you, right? And I always say that being a coach is first being a good human. You need to understand what your clients' problems are, their health is, like, you need to go at a level, right? It's not like, a job where you just do it and then it affects some fourth, fifth party. Here it's direct. It's direct. Like you see, if you're pushing them too much, they will injure themselves. And like how in your case, already your cortisol levels were high. And then like, your coach made you run so much and then like...
Yeah. And not just run, like I have like there's a staircase, okay? Like 10 flight of 10 stairs.
Okay.
So she made me go up and down like some 10
dear.
times.
Okay.
It was like...
And you would not know, right? How would you know? It's not your job to know. You're hiring a coach for a reason.
Yeah, and I desperately wanted to lose weight at that point of time. So I was like, okay, let's just do what is asked.
Right.
Because prior to that, at some point, cardio had worked for me.
Yes.
But my cortisol levels were maybe normal at that point of time.
Yeah.
Right now, they weren't. So it didn't work for me. So now that we've, covered a few basics.
Yeah.
Okay, so now that one has started exercising, how should we go about doing the goal setting?
Right. Okay. So with your goals, again, this is something that you'll be discussing with your coach. Okay. And unless you have, done your research and understand how to set goals, not just for your workouts, but in generally life, your career goals, whatever other goals you have, your travel goals, your financial goals, and you understand how goal setting works, your coach should be able to tell you. So the first question, and also I want to add this point to the previous question that you asked, your coach will always ask you, what is your goal?
Yes.
Right? One of the things that they'll ask you is, what do you want to reach to? Is it weight loss? Is it strength? Is it, hiking up a mountain? Is it being better at a sport? If you don't have a goal, ideally, like a good coach will help you set a goal. Like if somebody comes to me and just says like, I want to, just become fit. And they're vague about it.
Yeah.
I put a goal saying, okay, let's make it fun. Let's get to your first push-up. Okay. And we will do this in the next 6 weeks, we will be training for your first push-up. So,
which is a great way to start, right?
Exactly.
Smaller goals.
Yes.
And achievable. So that you don't lose hope.
Exactly.
Because that has happened to me so many times. I'll be like, okay, I'll go to the gym, I'll work out and, I'll lose 5 kgs, let's say.
Yes.
Okay?
Yeah.
And maybe I don't.
Yes.
Right? But I end up losing only 2.5 or 3.
You will be demotivated.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. And also I think I end up doing this, I compare.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So everyone's body is unique.
Yes.
So you can't really compare how much muscle X person has built or how much weight that person has lost.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's human tendency to compare.
It is. Like it happens to the best of us, And but like good point, you mentioned it in a much more systematic way than I did. That set smart, achievable, measurable goals that will give you a reward at the right time.
Yeah.
That reward is very important. That's how you get hooked to training, right? Like, that's why I said putting that goal of a push-up, right? It's a relatively easy, goal to achieve,
Absolutely.
right? Meanwhile, what is also happening in the background is they're also losing weight. Like, because they're already taking care of their nutrition, they're taking care of their, workout, they're doing daily movement. Push-up is just one reward system that, I'm making them aware of.
Yeah.
Right? In 6 weeks or 4 weeks or 8 weeks or whatever their journey time is, right? If in case they don't achieve it in 6 weeks, I'll be like, see you. And there is even with a push-up, right? You start with an incline push-up and slowly decrease the incline until you reach the floor. So even if the person hasn't reached the floor, at least they're incline has
It's
gone down.
There's some progress.
Yes.
I remember I started from like a half push-up
Yes.
and then went on to doing proper push-ups.
Yes.
And this was when I used to do archery.
Oh,
So for
lovely.
that you need like a lot of arm
Yes.
strength, right?
Yes,
to pick up the
yes.
bow.
Yeah.
And one of the first things we were taught, like I think first time, like when I got selected in the team,
Yeah.
first 2 weeks we didn't even touch the bow. It was just about gaining
Gaining the
strength.
strength. Yes, yes,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah. So yeah, of course you start from like one level and you obviously see some progress.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So now, you know, when you're setting goals,
Yes.
exercise is not just for weight loss, right?
Yes. Yes.
This is, I think, one thing we really need to talk about,
Yes.
because people, when they think about exercise, they think weight loss or muscle gain.
Yes.
But there are other goals also, right?
Of course, yes.
Let's talk about that.
Yes, okay. So I think also one of the things, not one of the things, some of the things that, you know, I always ensure that I tell people when they're starting workouts. And as a coach, like the coach has to make their clients or, you know, their students aware of these things. Week 1, you start noticing a energy difference. You're not as tired anymore. You know, you start seeing that, you know, you're able to go through your daily activities and still have some energy left at the end of the day to, you know, sustain and like, you know, give to your kids or your partner or your friends or for yourself.
Yeah.
Right? You have that energy. Otherwise, it's just what tends to happen is you work and then you watch some Netflix and you're like done. You're like, go to
Correct.
sleep watching
Correct.
Netflix. A lot of people I know do that. Right? So, first thing is notice a change in your energy levels. Right? The second thing is that you start noticing a change in your sleep levels. Your sleep starts getting better. You start sleeping better.
Yeah.
Maybe on time every day. You start falling asleep quicker rather than spending like hours, you know. And so there are like tiny changes that happen before that first weight loss change, etc. And also because you're sweating it out and you're basically like drinking enough water, taking care of your nutrition, your skin, nail, hair, all of this starts to get better. Your skin
Yeah.
starts glowing.
Yeah.
Right? So it is a very visible thing if you just like, you know, note down.
Correct.
And I make my clients note it down. Say, hey, have you noticed any difference in your energy levels? Like I ask them. And they'll be like, yeah, actually, yes. You know, that happens. Because the first sign of weight loss or muscle gain or looking better starts to happen around 6 to 8 weeks.
Correct.
So
yeah.
till then, I still need to give them some sort of a reward.
Yeah.
Right? And another very important thing is that cravings start going down. They don't crave for sugar anymore.
I have noticed this.
Yes.
So I've not been actively like going to the gym
Yes.
because my cortisol levels were again elevated.
Ah.
So what I've been doing is just 30 minutes of walk every day consistently.
Yeah.
Or doing like a step workout, like I'll play a video. Yeah. So my mom and I used to do these videos, okay? So
Oh, that's sweet.
yeah, so I was doing those videos. But I realized that when I was exercising, my nutrition also got better.
Yes.
Like automatically, I was thinking, okay, what to eat, how much protein to eat. Maybe I should, because I was cooking for myself.
Yes.
So I also started making sure that I'm eating enough protein during my breakfast. I'm eating less gluten because that makes me bloated. So I think all of that happened automatically and my focus got better.
Yes.
And you're right, 100% right about the energy levels. I saw a change and I started sleeping better too.
Yeah. So
It's such a great feeling. It's a very gratifying feeling when that happens to you.
yes.
So I think at one point I even stopped caring about the weight loss. For me, it was just about enjoying the process.
Yes. Definitely. And another thing that I make my clients do is make sure that I take them on a hike. You know, so what happens is they would have done that hike previously and they would have hated it because they can't climb the stairs. They got like, you know, tired or something. But 2 months into working out with me, when I take them on a hike and say like, you know, let's go, they immediately notice that, oh shit, this is so much easier.
They're able to
Yes.
walk 30 minutes on an incline and all of that, right?
Exactly. It's not as tiring. And so when they realize these things and, you know, all this starts showing up in their work and their like personal life also. See, exercising every day helps produce endorphins. So that is one of the happy hormones. That is an immediate effect. The moment you finish your exercise, endorphins are produced in your body. Okay, so first thing. Second thing is because you're in a happy mood, you get through your work day better.
Yes.
So then you produce dopamine in your body, which is I'd like to call a task
Yeah, like a gratifying thing,
gratifying,
yeah.
Every time you finish a task, there's dopamine in your
Yeah,
body produced,
yeah.
right? So there is more happy hormones, right? So it's like a good cycle that goes on.
Correct.
Right? And there was one time I was asking my mentor, like, I was procrastinating a lot. And I asked him, like, hey, how do I, keep myself motivated on days that I don't want to? He said, one of the things that they make them do, like, in NCC or army is first wake up and fold their bed. Because the moment you do a small task, there's dopamine. And that momentum carries through the day.
Yes, yes.
So working out is something similar, right? Like you start with a 30-minute walk. But even if it's not an intense strengthening, whatever, etc., you're supposed to be doing, even that walk will keep you, like, keep that momentum going to make your quality of your life better.
Better. Yeah.
So,
And for anybody who's starting to exercise, okay, let's say someone who's probably not very old and they don't need a coach. They
Right.
can just start with something simple.
Yes.
Like, this is my approach to life. Like, if you can do something simple, then slowly go to like a more advanced level. You'll
Yes.
stick to it.
yes.
Otherwise, I mean, if I go to the gym, I usually end up not being very regular.
Right.
But if I start walking, join a class, like a group class where, I have to be there. Like I used to go to Cult. Okay. I loved going for HRX.
Okay.
I used to go every day. And I was obsessed with going to Cult at that point of time. And then I went back home and I joined like an individual class and I didn't enjoy it so much.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think these smaller things, like it went from walking every day to Cult classes, which I think helped me stay consistent.
Yes. Finding, like, I think that's another good point that you pointed out, that, finding an activity that you enjoy, right? Working out is good, but like something as simple as walking, cycling, swimming, these are all great starting points. At some point, you need to build to strength training, but doesn't mean that you can't start with this, right? Like you
Yeah.
can start with something as like a hiking community or a cycling community.
Yeah.
Like start somewhere and just build from there.
Yeah.
So that's a good way
And
to
I
go
think
about
in
it.
and around Bangalore, Pune, you have lovely places to
Oh,
go
yes.
for a hike.
Yes.
I went for one when I just moved to Bangalore. I
Okay.
think it's called Antargange.
Oh,
it's
yes.
beautiful.
It's very beautiful. Yes.
Like it's very rocky, and then you have
Yeah.
to go through those
Caves.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's beautiful. It was
Yeah.
such a lovely moment. Because I went with you've heard of Leap Club, right?
Yes,
I
yes.
went with the
Oh,
Leap
you went
Club.
with Leap Club. Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
So this was, I think, a
Ah.
bunch of us went, and then I got my flatmate also to join me.
Okay.
And both of us went there, and I honestly didn't know anyone at that point of time at
Okay.
Leap Club. I was like, okay, you know what? I'm just gonna wake up and go for this activity.
Okay.
And it was such a great weekend. So yeah, I think, by the way, if there's a hike club you know of, I want to go for the
Come
hiking.
with me.
Done. Let's do it.
We're making
Let's
a lot
do
of
it.
plans, but I'll follow
Yes.
up with you. Yeah.
If I wake up.
No, that's okay. I go during the day. The season's
Oh.
beautiful.
Okay, so now that we've covered like a lot of these topics, let's talk about more women-specific workouts, okay?
Right. Okay.
And I want to, when I say women-specific, I say this because women go through so many different phases. So puberty, and then they start working and get busy, and then get married, and after marriage, postpartum, and then all of those things happen, right? Where hormonal fluctuations happen.
Right.
And then there's perimenopause, menopause,
Yeah.
all of those phases.
Yeah.
How should they look at workouts at that point of time? Like, what's more suitable? Like, is it Pilates, strength train? I mean, yeah, Pilates also helps you strength train. But yoga, like, there's so many things to choose from. And
yes.
different people will guide you differently based on what they've studied and their beliefs. But ideally, what are the basics?
So this applies to, see, like you very well said, women go through a lot of changes in their body, right?
Yeah.
Throughout. One of the foundational things to remember, that no matter what age or what your circumstances are, starting slow is always the best thing. Like even in your case,
Yeah.
instead of making you run, if in case your coach had just started you with maybe like 5 minutes of jogging,
Yeah.
10 minutes of jogging, your cortisol levels wouldn't have been like so up all the time,
Yeah,
right? So no matter what age or what phase, like post birth or like perimenopause or menopause, whatever the condition is, if you are somebody who's not worked out for a while, it's good to start from the very basics. Simple, like 10 minutes walk, very basic strength training. This is up to the coach to understand what your specific case or
Correct.
condition is.
Correct.
Right? So no matter what, if you start slowly, and this one, there'll never be an injury or a problem, even hormonally. Right?
Yeah.
So you have to start with little, see, you need to do a combination of strength and cardio no matter what. Because our body doesn't understand, like, think about it this way. Like, our muscles don't understand, oh, this is Pilates, or this is, this is strength training, or this is functional training, or this is kettlebell. So I must react this way, or I must react this way. Our body understands only two things. One is stress, and one is adaptation. Right? When I say stress, when I'm lifting this cup, okay, what is essentially happening is I'm lifting this cup, my bicep is understanding, okay, how much weight is she lifting, how much, preparation that
Yeah.
must I do, how much glucose must I spend, okay, and how much, whatever, like, energy I need to hold it for however long she wants to hold. Okay, so stress is picking up this one and placing it down. Adaptation, if this was a 10 kg dumbbell, then there'll be more stress. Right? So now what the muscle is going to do is it's going to provide the energy for you to lift this one, and tomorrow it's going to go back to the brain and say, okay, today she lifted a 10 kg dumbbell, is she going to lift it again? Which means we have to make her stronger, we have
Okay.
to adapt.
Yes.
Right? So that's where I said stress and adaptation. Right? So the stress is provided with whatever it is, Pilates or whatever, etc., etc., and the adaptation is done through your recovery. Your sleep, nutrition, breathing, your food, all of this comes into picture, right? So, body only understands stress and adaptation. If you had started with 10 minutes of jogging, 5 minutes of easy jogging, your cortisol levels would have not been so up that it would have caused a problem,
You've
right?
explained this so well. I'll tell you what. So in one of the previous episodes, I was
Yeah.
talking to Anushri, who's a
Okay.
PCOS coach.
Okay.
And we were talking about exercise.
Right.
Okay. And she said, even with PCOS, you can do cardio because what is stress for your body is different.
Yes,
Right?
exactly.
Like picking a cup can
Yeah.
be very stressful for someone.
Yeah.
But for you, picking a 10 kg dumbbell, it may not be as stressful
Exactly.
as this cup also.
Exactly. So you
Yeah.
understood like so well. That's exactly what it is, right? So as a coach, the coach's job is to just understand what is the stress, what level, what journey, like in your journey where you're at and what causes you stress. Because without stress, you can't adapt.
Yeah.
Right? There has to be a nominal amount of stress. And in medical terms, it's called minimum something dosage.
Okay.
Okay, so basically the minimum amount of medicine you need to feel better.
Got
More
it.
than that becomes toxicity. Right? It becomes toxic for the body. Right? Same thing with your workout. In your case, you ran so much that the stress was too much for your body to recover from. And if you're doing that every day, then it's your body starts deteriorating.
Okay.
So this applies not just for women but for everybody, no matter what age, what phase they are at, etc. So that's how you design your workout. Start slowly, see, understand where you're at. Are you feeling energetic? Are you
Yeah.
feeling good after a workout? Then slowly up your dosage.
And I think one very important point that you mentioned was recovery,
Yes.
because people miss out on that.
Yes.
It's very important to focus on recovery to build muscle, right?
Yes.
Let's-
Not
let's-
just muscle, I think generally to live. Yeah.
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 Let's talk more about what is a part of recovery when you say recovery. What all does it include?
Okay. So, one of the things that people think is recovery is, going for fancy massages, going to, expensive recovery methods. Like, I mean, I'm not against ice bathing and
I
everything.
was just going to say,
Yeah.
oh my God, such a fad.
Like it does help in recovery, but we need to understand, see, athletes do it every day because they're training like 4-5 hours a day.
Yeah.
So they need to recover so fast. As a recreational person, as a recreational athlete like you and me, we're just working out for our general, so that we can live our
Well-being, yeah.
life, well-being, exactly. So is it necessary? Is it mandatory? No. Should we do it? Yes, you can do it once in a while. It's fun, try it, you're like, understand how what happens to your body. Is it necessary to spend so much on expensive things when you're not even doing the basics? Like, think about it this way. You're building an apartment, okay? And what you're doing is like your foundation is not great, it's shaky, and then you're going to put all sorts of high-end decor on the top and like fourth floor and make it look fancy. It's not going to work.
Yeah.
Right? The apartment, there is an earthwake, the apartment's going to fall down because
Very
the
well
foundation is
said.
bad.
Yeah.
Right? Now, the foundation of recovery is first sleep. Our body is designed, that is the best recovery our body has. We sleep to recover, right? Otherwise, we can just function round the clock.
Correct.
Right? We sleep to recover. When we sleep, our body like goes through recovery process, understands, hey, what is happening, gives your brain a little bit of break, right? So all of this happens when you sleep. So sleep is very important. Nutrition. Like again, I'll give you the house example. When you're building a house, okay, your building block is your brick.
Correct.
Right? Your bricks are essentially your carbohydrates, your proteins, your fats, and all the maintenance that goes into building the house, like your painting and waterproofing, etc., is your micronutrients. Right, which is your like your vitamin D, A, B, C,
Magnesium,
minerals,
yeah.
yes, all of these. Right, so foundation will always remain sleep, macronutrients first, and breathing, oxygen. Right?
Yeah.
So these three will always be the foundation. Anytime there's a problem, people run to the most expensive thing thinking it's going to solve. Right?
Correct.
But first, if these three things are not good, no matter what you do, you can take a lot of magnesium for sleep. Right? But if your protein intake is not good, your body will not produce melatonin, which is a hormone. And for a hormone, the building block is protein.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
So you can take magnesium, yes. But look at the first thing, your macronutrients, your this one, and then your breathing. If these things are all right and you're still not able to sleep, then go to the next process. Okay,
Yeah.
micronutrients is missing. Then go to the next process. Oh, something is off here. So you start with the foundation and then slowly go upwards to figure out what is wrong.
Makes a lot of sense, right?
Yes.
Because these are just very basic things that we miss out on.
Yes.
And sleep, I think a lot of us have started struggling with
yes.
in our
Yeah.
mid-20s.
Yes, definitely. It's just so sad that, people, and, anytime somebody wants to sleep on time, it's so uncool. Like, all my friends call me a buzzkill. I'm like, dude,
with you. I am also trying to sleep early. So now I'm like
Yeah.
10 o'clock. Don't call me after that.
Exactly.
Because I'm trying to reduce my screen time. So if I'm using my phone after 10, I know I'll sleep at maybe 1.
Yeah.
But if I'm done with like blue light and like the white light in the house,
Yeah.
I turn that off. I know
Yeah.
I'll be out by 11.
yes, exactly.
And I do
Exactly.
take magnesium, by the way.
No,
Swiss
that's good.
magnesium all the way.
Yes, like I said, see, we do need micronutrients. Without waterproofing, the building will leak.
Correct.
We do need supplements that we are missing out on, right? But the foundations, without the foundation, there is no
Yeah.
point of waterproofing.
Yeah, I mean, you
So
can't
fix
be
the
having
foundation.
waffles and sugar for dinner and then having magnesium and feeling like, oh, you'll fall asleep.
Exactly.
So-
You have so much energy from the sugar, you will obviously not fall asleep.
Correct.
So, so this is the way you go about recovery, to answer your question.
So we were talking about, different workout formats for women during different phases of their lives.
Right.
But now the thing is, we also have a lot of women who have PCOS, hormonal disorders, which is very, very, very common now because of the food we eat, the environment we live
Yes,
in.
yes.
It's going to happen and
Yes.
it's inevitable, I
Yeah,
think now. So how do we select the right workout format?
Right. Okay. All right. So I want to circle back to the first point that I said, where, first start with simple movements. And see, any of these conditions like PCOS, PCOD, diabetes, these are all lifestyle conditions.
Correct.
Sir, they're lifestyle conditions. Why are they happening? Because your lifestyle is not good. Not just the fact that you're not working out.
Yeah.
There is a lot of things that come into picture. When I talk about lifestyle, what am I talking about? I'm talking about sleep. They're not sleeping on time. Maybe they're really stressed, right? When your body is consistently stressed, your cortisol levels are consistently high. Yeah, exactly. Your body is not going to be able to recover in a good way.
Yeah.
Right? So you need to understand not just the point that, if I work out, everything will be okay. We have to treat it like a lifestyle condition. You have to understand your sleep habits, you have to understand your food habits, you have to understand your happiness habits. Right?
Correct.
How are you managing your stress levels, right? What are you doing? Everybody has stress, right? We have financial stress that we can't escape. We have a personal stress, a fight with a boyfriend, or like, fight with your partner, or with your family, or death in the family.
You
right?
can't escape. These are real life
Yeah,
situations,
these are all
right?
real life situations, and our body is designed to handle them. Cortisol is not a bad thing, right? It's a mechanism that our body has figured out to manage stress.
To regulate it.
To regulate it,
Yeah.
exactly, right? So we need to understand what are the things that are off in our lifestyle. Working out is just 15% of it. If you're starting slow and you're slowly adapting, working is a part of the solution. The rest of the solution comes from, managing your stress, managing what is the thing that's causing you a lot of problem. Maybe talk to a therapist or do your own research, right? There's so much, content available around how to regulate your emotions, how to work around whatever problems that you're
Yeah.
having mentally with your
Yeah.
parent or with your finance, whatever. So when I say lifestyle, a large part of it is also mental health.
Correct.
Right? A
That's
lot of
very
people
true.
go through diabetes who, like PCOS, everything. All of these things happen because of mental
Stress also.
Stress. Yeah.
Yeah, it can manifest it,
In
obviously.
fact, it's mostly mental. I'll not say also, it's mostly mental. Remember that not working out is just a solution, right? Working out is just a
Correct,
solution.
correct.
But actually the reason it comes up is the mental thing.
So if you're feeling low,
Yes.
you probably won't have the motivation to go and work out.
Exactly.
You probably will binge eat.
Yes.
And you're stressed internally.
Yes.
So
So not
you
sleep
are-
on time.
You're not sleeping on time.
Yes.
So all of these things are obviously going to lead to just one thing called insulin resistance in
Yes,
our body.
exactly.
So insulin resistance is, I think, the root cause of both diabetes and
Yes.
PCOS.
Yes.
Which
Yes.
is, very true. I think more than just workout, we should focus on a more holistic way
Yes,
of. I think
yes.
we've spoken about this before also on the podcast.
Yes.
But I think a holistic way of looking at
Yeah.
life and solving not just exercise,
Yes.
but also your emotions, your
Yes.
eating habits, your sleep. It's very important.
Yeah.
The thing is, when someone goes to a doctor
Hmm.
for PCOS, all they say is lose 10% of your body weight.
Yeah. They don't say muscle or like fat.
Or they don't even say sleep.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
So I have been touched with extremely lucky that I was very stupid and naive at that point of time, and I obviously
okay.
didn't have
Yeah.
enough awareness.
Yeah.
But my doctor told me when I was in 10th grade,
Yeah.
okay, and he's my family doctor, he said, you have to leave your phone and sleep. And I didn't take it seriously enough back then.
Yeah.
Because I was like, but I only study for boards at night, and how can I do this and that? Now when I think of it, I could have woken up at 6 a.m. and studied. But the sleep that I missed out on
Yes. Yes.
was so important.
Yeah.
So
Definitely.
sleeping on time, I think, is just something so underrated.
Yes.
I was talking to someone just yesterday, and she was like, I have PCOS. How do I even begin to lose weight? I don't know what to do. And she was living away from home. She's just gone to college. So she was very stressed that now I have PCOS, but what do I do about this?
Yes.
Because
Yes.
weight gain, even if you gain 7-8 kgs, it stresses you mentally.
It just feeds your,
Yeah.
like you just spiral down, you know?
So for someone like that,
Yeah.
should she just start with basics?
Basics. See, remember what I said about our body understanding stress and adaptation? If somebody is selling you PCOS specific workouts, okay, it's just a marketing gimmick.
Of
It's like
course.
olive oil, okay? Olive oil is a good fat, ghee is a good fat. It's just that olive oil has it has a good PR team.
Yeah.
Right? It's like that. See, if we are selling a workout for PCOS, specifically for this one, it's just a marketing tactic because that's a great way of marketing. I'm not saying marketing is bad, right?
No, but yeah, it's fine.
But it's just that, and what may happen actually, like now we have a program called Senior Strong, which I've spoken to you
Yeah,
about,
yeah.
right? What we're doing is essentially same workouts that I would probably make like a complete beginner do. right, for the seniors. But what are we doing? We are adding like 20 minutes of time in the end of the class where the seniors connect with each other. So we are invariably taking care of their mental health also. Now
That's
they don't
lovely.
realize, yes.
That is so nice.
Yes.
I love that idea.
Like we are doing a PR thing. We are like, oh, this is senior strong, senior specific workouts. Now the senior comes on board. What, like, ideally this is a market secret, okay?
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, but like the movements are the same. The only thing is
Yeah.
that, you know, these tiny things, the mental health aspect of it is different.
Yeah.
Right? So PCOS or perimenopause, their workouts are not very different. Right? Yes, there are some nitty-gritties that come into picture.
Correct.
That
Yeah.
I will like not go too
Yeah.
much into detail, that we have to keep in mind as a coach. But starting slow is the only thing. Right? It is made to be so complicated by people,
Yeah.
but it's
Yeah.
not. It's every whether you're diabetes or like, you know, your menopause or like, you know, you're going through this or whatever it is, take care of your mental health, take care of your physical health, or take care of your happiness. That is the
Lovely.
solution. That's it.
think
Yeah.
These are some very, very important points.
Yes.
Because when you think about losing weight, the first thing we think about is either going on a diet
Yes.
or exercising.
Yes.
But we miss out these things in the middle which are very, very important, or probably
Exactly.
as important as exercising and workout.
Yes.
Right?
It's all interrelated. It's one body. Our mind and our body is in the same thing, right? We can't
Yeah.
isolate one thing and be like, oh, we're only going to treat this. It doesn't work.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? It's all
Okay,
interconnected.
now I'm going to ask you something
Okay.
that I think I've been trying to explain women around me for quite some time. And not my age group, probably who are older to me.
Okay.
Why is it important for women to build muscle?
Yes. All right. Okay. See, as we age, right, what happens to the body naturally, whether you're a man or a woman, any gender, your body is like, okay, reproductive time is over, now it's time to die. Right?
Yeah.
That's what happens. See, when you're younger, you can party all night and still look great. You'll have like a flat stomach or whatever, like, you know, all of that, right? Like now in my 30s,
Crying in the corner.
I swear. So essentially, as your reproductive age starts to come down, right, your body is like, okay, it's a natural process. Even a bird or an animal, as soon as the reproductive age is over, it starts to deteriorate. It's called your muscle mass starts going down. Right? That's called atrophy in technical terms, right?
Okay.
Your muscle mass starts going down. Your brain's like, abhi ho gaya, like I am done. Like whatever we're supposed to do, reproduce, is that
Done.
age is done. Now I'll start reducing the muscle mass slowly. I'll start bringing down the bone weight slowly.
So
Okay?
bone density.
Bone density, exactly, right? And then it starts to think, first your muscle mass reduces, then your bone density starts to go down, then your range of motion for your joints. If you see old people, they're like, you know, they're like,
Yeah.
their range of motion like is reduced. They're not able to reach all the way up.
Correct.
Or, you know, they're hunched over and there's like, you know, it's frozen.
Yes.
You know, their hips are frozen, right? So your brain starts to bring down your range of motion. I only need to go till here to pick up this coffee cup. That's it. That's all is needed for me to be alive till I die. So your brain starts cutting down all the things that it thinks are unnecessary. Think of it as a country in war. When a country is at war, you will not spend money on maintaining a good
You
park.
will ration.
Yes, you will ration. You will budget. Right? You will not. The country will not be like, oh, we need to have beautiful parks. Right? It will be like, oh, I need to feed my army.
Yeah.
Right? So that's what starts to happen slowly. Right? As our body is aging. So no matter which gender you are, you need to train to ensure your muscle mass is maintained. Because your body starts to deteriorate slowly. It's a natural process. Can you stop it? No. Can you delay it? Yes. Right? You can delay it till however long you can. So you can increase your quality of life. Be able to walk, run, play with your grandchildren, your children, right? All of these things you can optimize.
Yeah.
Right? And also for women specifically, women have a higher tendency of getting osteoporosis.
Yes.
Right? So osteoporosis is a condition where your bones start to get porous over time, and it is irreversible. Right? So the later you start, the worse it is. Right? If you are somebody who's had the best time to start is now. Right? Like the best time. If you're a child I always tell mothers, before you get pregnant, start movement. Take 1 to 2 years to work out, then get pregnant, so that your child has some amount of those good things transfer to you, right? So the earliest to start is now for your entire generation. Right?
Correct.
So whether you're if you already your child is already you have already had a child, ensure you improve your child's nutrition. You let them play as much as they can. They're as active as they can. If you're a 20-year-old, sign up for a gym. If you're a 30-year-old, find a coach, sign up for a gym. Whatever, no matter what age you're at, start immediately. Don't start for perimenopause. And weight gain. I see so many people not give a damn. I mean, so many women not give a damn about their workout. And then when they're 40, they're like, we will spend 25K, 30K per, month for a coach. Yeah.
So the best way is to start now.
Yeah. If you are earning, no matter how much you're earning, if you have zero money for working out, find a community.
Go for a walk.
Find a community. Start with a walk. Ideally, I would say walking is good. It's good to start with, but find a community like a calisthenics community, right? Where I didn't have to spend a penny, but I got to my first pull up.
That's amazing. Actually, I'm so impressed.
So find a community and get started now. So that, you don't wait till menopause to realize that, osteoporosis has started, arthritis has started. Now I need to take care. Don't start digging a well then when the house is on fire.
I'm so inspired. I'm definitely working out today. So I didn't work out for the last 3-4 days because I was traveling for work, then I had to go to office yesterday. So it was just one after the other thing, and I was I'm not able to find time to work out. But today I'm gonna work out for sure.
I'm so glad.
Okay, moving on to our last segment where I have a few myths. Okay. I need to tell me whether this is a myth or a fact.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
So the first one is lifting weights makes women bulky.
Okay, all right. So even men who lift weights can't get bulky. They struggle to get bulky. Okay? That's the truth of it, right? If you go to the gym and you talk to a person, ask them how difficult was it to get muscle, it's very difficult because to get bulky, you need to have testosterone in your body. Unless you have an extreme hormonal imbalance, as a woman, you're unlikely to get bulky when you work out. You'll only get strong. Right? I'll give you an example. If you see calisthenics athletes, they're usually slightly more lean than weightlifters.
Oh, okay.
Weightlifters are, weightlifters and bodybuilding specifically. They train to make their body look big. Right?
Yeah.
But if you put a calisthenics athlete against a bodybuilder, the chances of a calisthenics athlete winning in an arm wrestling thing is much higher.
Wow.
Even though their arm is lean. Right?
Because they built more muscle?
No, it's basically neurons. Your neurons are better fired in, when you train for arm wrestling specifically. Right? So your muscles might be small, but your strength will be higher. So what I want to say here is women can be very strong, very, very, very strong.
Very strong.
Without building muscle, and they can't build so much muscle because they don't have testosterone. Naturally, that's being, produced so much in their body. So it is definitely a myth.
Okay. Moving on to the next one.
Yeah.
Cardio is the best way to lose weight.
See, cardio is a part of the solution, right? You need cardio. Is actually short for cardiovascular movement, right? Cardiovascular means specifically your heart. Right? So you do a cardio movement ideally to get your heart to pump blood so that your arteries and veins don't build a fat surrounding it. So this is your artery or vein. If you're consistently very, you have an unhealthy diet, there's a fat deposit that starts forming around our organs.
Yeah.
This is called visceral fat, right? So what happens? The blood flowing through this much gap will now start flowing through this much gap. Which what happens is the blood pressure increases, right? When you have the blood pressure increasing, you have a higher risk of a heart stroke or a heart disease or a heart attack. So that is why you do cardio, which is short, short for cardiovascular health. It is not meant to lose weight. It's meant to
keep
help
your
heart healthy. So that's why to keep your muscles healthy, you need to do your strength training where you're building strength for your muscles. right?
Okay.
So it doesn't directly help, it's a part of the solution.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you need a good mix of cardio plus strength training to
Yes.
lose weight.
To live a good life.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was also a myth.
Yes.
Okay. Next one, older women should avoid strength training.
Okay. All right. I mean, how else are they going to build muscle? Right? Like, so older women should not avoid strength training. They should avoid jumping into sudden intense movements.
Yeah.
Unless they are been active for a very long time. See, like right now I'm very consistent with my workout, right? I suddenly go lift like 200 kgs. I'm also going to get like some knee pain or lower back pain
Yeah,
or an
you'll
injury.
pull a muscle or
Yeah, I'll pull a
something.
muscle. So, I like to think I'm a younger woman, but
We are.
yeah, exactly. So, no matter what age you're at, if you suddenly jump into something that you're not accustomed to, your body is going to be like, stupid. I'm going to give you a muscle pull now so that you don't do anything random for the next
Yeah.
couple of days. Right?
Yeah.
So, older women should do 100% need strength training more than most people. Right?
Yeah.
But they need to start slow. That's the thing.
With maybe like lighter weights or like
Yes.
without weights, just the body weight training, right?
Exactly. Like they can do strength training also, right?
My mom's doing it now.
Yes, exactly, right? Strength training, but imagine if the dumbbell is only this much, it's a 0.5 kg dumbbell, that is also weight training.
Yeah.
But like it's not intense
Yeah.
weight training. So it all depends on just understanding where they are at. What is the stress?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I think we've covered almost everything, but it
Yes.
was such a great conversation and I had so much fun sharing my experiences with you.
I'm so glad, yeah. that you
and
did.
we're definitely going for a hike and I'm going to Kabun to skate.
Yes, you should come this weekend, yeah.
Yeah. My mom's going to be so happy because
Yeah.
she really likes when I skate. 'Cause
Okay.
she's like, why do you even go to the gym? But skating kar le, kitna acha hai. And yeah, so because she used to take me for skating for like, I think, good 6-7 years. She used to wake me up and take me for my skating classes and
Right.
stuff. So yeah. But this was such a great conversation.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being here. I think this was a very enriching conversation for me, and I'm sure for our viewers as well. They were able to know more about the kind of workouts, where to start, how to approach a trainer, and what kind of questions to ask a trainer, because it's a very intimidating thing to do.
Yes.
So I think those points have been very, very, very helpful.
Yeah.
So any last message for our viewers who are watching this?
I think I want to point out that, whenever you're approaching a coach, if the coach's fees intimidates you, okay, the coach is charging you 3,000, then be honest with the coach and say, hey, I would really like to train with you, but I can't afford this. Is there any work around this? So what this allows is, it allows the coach to come up with some form of still training you. Maybe they can come up with a hybrid program. Maybe they can come up with a way where they give you workouts and then you do it, or like something, or at least they'll refer you to somebody whom they think is this one. But at least you're being honest in a polite way. Don't say like, oh, this is too expensive. That'll obviously piss them off, because you're paying like, they're expecting that much amount for their
Yeah.
skill. So if you're just polite and honest about it, I'm sure like something good will come out of it. A lot of times I see people approach me, and then when they hear my price or like fees, they just ghost me. And then I have to follow up and say, hey, what is your budget? Right? So I think that is the message that I want to give. when
That
I'm
is,
ending it.
yeah, that's a very fair thing also. I think it's a very, very fair point. I don't know how to put it in words anymore now.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you so much, Anupma. Such a lovely conversation.
Yeah.
And chalo, let's plan that hike now.
Yes, done. Thank you.
Thank you.